All right, so again, just listen to your bodies today. Do whatever feels good. Take a different variation of any pose at any time. You don't have to do what we're doing. You can just stay in Shavasana if you want to. It's up to you. Yeah, so with that, I invite you to find your rest pose, whatever that is. And know that it doesn't always have to be the same. Again, you can find seated if seated feels more comfortable today. You can lay down, whatever it is for you. And once you've found your pose, you can wiggle it out, maybe roll our shoulders back and down, release a little bit of tension. And then I invite you to take that nice cleansing breath, a nice big inhale through the nose, filling up your belly, your ribs, and your chest. And really exhale it all out, let it go. One more time, if that serves you, inhaling, filling up all the spaces in your chest and your belly. And really exhale, pushing out all that stagnant energy, letting it go. And just finding your breath. And maybe allowing yourself for a few moments here to surrender to the stillness. And what a fabulous word that is, surrender. Because it doesn't mean to give up, but it means to give in. Giving in to your stillness. Turning your focus inwards. Following your gentle inhale and your gentle exhale. Riding the waves of your breath. Maybe even noticing your chest and your belly rising and falling. Allowing your breath to pull you back into your body. Anchoring you in this moment. Perhaps noticing the softening that's happening. Maybe you notice your arms soften and become heavy. And noticing the letting go of everything that doesn't serve you with each exhalation. And just staying here with your ebbs and flows of breath for a few more moments, allowing yourself to just rest. And if your mind has started to wander, welcoming it back into this space with your breath. And when your body feels ready, I invite you to start to slowly wake yourself up. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes. We can roll out our wrists and our ankles. And then I invite you just to rock your head from side to side, really noticing the part of your head that feels really heavy on the mat here, and massaging that out nice and slow, side to side. And maybe focusing, where else do you feel this movement? Maybe down your neck, maybe into your shoulders. Maybe you feel your body sway side to side as you rock. Beautiful. Coming back to center, reaching our legs out long, arms up overhead. Nice big reach, stretch, reaching nice and long. And exhale, let it go. Really becoming heavy on the mat on your exhalation here. Inhaling one more time if that feels good for you. Reaching nice and long from your fingers all the way down to your toes, creating that tension in your body here. And then exhale, really let it go. Beautiful. Hugging one knee in and then the other towards your chest. Rocking side to side, or maybe finding stillness here, whatever feels good for you. Always remembering that I am just a guide, and this is your journey. Beautiful. Coming back to center, letting our feet just dangle, hands on our knees, drawing those circles in the ceiling in whichever direction you'd like to start with here. And then changing the direction if that feels good for you. Beautiful. We're going to come back to center, hands still on our knees, and we're going to draw 2 circles in the ceiling this time. So really letting our hips open up nice and wide, letting our knees splay to the side, back up to the midline and towards our chest. Again, moving with your breath. You can go nice and slow, or perhaps a little bit faster if that feels better. Maybe noticing if you have a little bit more range of movement with each circle you make here. And then the next time you come back through center, we're going to circle it out in the other direction. So 2 nice big circles out and down. Again, really opening up our hip joints here, lubricating everything. Beautiful. One more time through here. And then hugging our knees to our chest. We're going to reach our legs up to the sky. Hands can just be wherever is comfortable. Legs do not have to be straight at all. And we're just going to bend our knees, bringing our heels towards our bum. And then exhale, reach them up to the sky. Doing this a few times. Again, knees can stay bent the entire time. We're just lubricating the knee joints this time. Especially if you've been doing a lot of walking or hiking, or maybe some of you are even running again now that it's nice and warm. It's so important to lubricate our joints, stretch them out before we find movement. Beautiful. One more time here. Hugging our knees into our chest once more. Beautiful. We're going to reach our feet, letting our feet fall to the ground, finding our bridge pose here. Again, walking your feet into wherever is comfortable, just making sure our feet and hips and knees are all in alignment here. Really, oh my goodness, really rooting in here to all 4 corners of our feet. We're going to inhale, and then as we exhale, lifting our hips up to the sky as we really squeeze our glutes, letting this movement come from our glutes here. Opening up the front of the body. You might even feel this in your quads and your hip flexors. Holding this for another breath. And then as we exhale, slowly lowering down 1 vertebrae at a time. Beautiful. Just staying in this position here. We're going to inhale our arms up to the sky, palms facing in, thumbs to the top of the mat. And as we exhale, reaching our arms up overhead, they don't need to reach all the way back. Inhaling back up to center. Beautiful. Exhale, reaching up, thumbs pointing down. And back to center. Beautiful. One more time, reaching up. And then releasing our hands all the way down beside our bodies. Beautiful. We're going to find a bridge flow and we're going to add that arm movement in if that feels good. If it doesn't, just stay in the bridge flow, or you can just find the arm movement wherever you're at this evening. Beautiful. Keeping our hands down to start. We're going to inhale, lift our hips up to the sky. As we exhale, lowering the hips down, reaching our arms up overhead, thumbs pointing down. And then exhale, lifting our hips up to the sky as we bring our arms beside our side body. Beautiful, flowing through this just a couple times here. Again, you can just stay in bridge or you can just move your arms. Beautiful, 2 more times here, really moving nice and slow. Warming up our shoulder girdle here, last time. And then when you finish that, slowly rolling down 1 vertebrae at a time, moving our feet further away, and let's windshield washer that out. Arms can go into cactus and T if that feels better here. Beautiful, coming back to center, keeping our knees bent, reaching our right or our left arm over our head, rolling over onto our left or right side body. Pausing for a breath here. And then pressing through our palm and making our way up into our tabletop. Fingertips spread nice and wide. Beautiful. Lining up here, wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, spine is nice and tall. Inhale and exhale, tailbone lifts, belly lowers, heart shining forward into our beautiful cow pose. Exhale, rounding in nice and slow, chin to chest, cat. Inhaling forward to our cow and rounding into cat. And finding your perfect pace here just for a few more cycles. And 1 more time through. Beautiful, coming back to our neutral tabletop here. We're gonna bring our big toes to touch, knees to the edge of the mat, sitting back on our heels, walking our hands forward and lowering our chest and our forehead to the mat. Finding that beautiful wide-legged child's pose here. Once again, surrendering to this pose. Feeling the breath fill the back of the body now. Maybe you can feel it in the spaces behind your kidneys, behind your heart. Beautiful. On our next breath, we're going to walk our hands over to the left as we really root our right hip towards the right heel, stretching out the right side of the body here. Really breathing into any spaces that feel tight, and maybe they can soften a little bit. Walking our hands back through center and then over to the other side, rooting the left hip down towards the left heel. And then walking our hands back through center here. We're going to press into our palms, making our way up into our tabletop pose. Beautiful. On our next breath, we're going to inhale our right arm up to the sky. And as we exhale, we're just going to gently thread it through between our left wrist and our left knee, just reaching those right fingertips over to the left, not lowering right now. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, threading that through, really reaching those right fingers. Beautiful. One more time, nice and slow. Exhale, reaching through. Beautiful, coming back to center. Finding any movement you need before we find that on the other side. Beautiful, inhaling our left arm up to the sky. And then as we exhale, reaching those left fingertips over to the right as we thread it through. Inhaling, opening our thoracic spine here. Exhaling, twisting to the left. One more time. Beautiful, reaching through. Beautiful, coming back to center. Again, finding any movement that you need here. And then on our next breath, reaching this right leg to the back of the mat. Maybe the toes stay on the mat, maybe your foot lifts off. And then as we exhale, rounding in that knee to chest, planting that foot between our hands and rising up to our low lunge here. Again, you can walk that foot out in front if you need a little bit more of a stretch in the left hip flexor. Beautiful, exhale, folding forward, walking our hands back, straightening that right leg, flexing the right toes. Maybe our spine stays straight. Maybe we round in forehead to knee. Really noticing what type of stretch your body needs here. Tuning inward, becoming aware. Beautiful, walking our hands back forward. We're gonna plant that right foot to start and then right knee meets left, finding our tabletop. Exhaling the left foot back this time. Toes can stay on the mat or they can lift. Exhale, rounding in as we bring that foot in between our hands, hand to heel if we get stuck. Rising up. Again, finding what feels good here for you. Knowing that everyone is going to be different and that's okay. Beautiful, exhale, folding forward, walking our hands back, straightening that left leg, flexing the toes gently. And then once again, noticing if it feels better to stay in this flat back or if you'd like to round in. Beautiful, walking our hands forward, planting that foot to start, left knee meets right, finding our tabletop. Finding any movement you need here. Walking our hands forward a couple inches, really spreading our fingertips nice and wide, rooting into the fingertips here, and then especially our thumb, index, and pinky. We're gonna tuck our toes and then lift our hips up and back, downward facing dog, or we can stay in tabletop or find child's pose. Beautiful, finding the movement you need to settle in, maybe walking it out. Maybe lifting both heels at the same time. Maybe we rock our hips side to side. And then finding a few breaths in that stillness. Letting our spine be nice and long, reaching our sits bones to where the wall meets the ceiling. Finding your breath. And bending our knees and walking our feet slowly to the top of the mat. Finding that forward fold, really rooting our torso on our thighs here. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, rooting down as we rise up to the sky. Exhaling. Mountain. Beautiful, finding our strong mountain pose, our base to start. We're gonna inhale up to the sky, nice and slow, exhaling down through heart center. Beautiful, inhaling up to the sky, and exhaling, heart center. Beautiful, inhaling up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting our hands, reaching our left foot to the back of the mat. Lowering that left knee if that feels good. If not, high on the ball mound, rising up to our crescent lunge. Beautiful. Exhale, folding forward, planting our hands, right foot meets left, downward facing dog, or tabletop or child's pose. Beautiful. Inhaling forward like a wave to our plank or our kneeling plank. And then we're going to lower ourselves all the way down to our mat. Finding that root, tops of our feet and our pubic bone. Inhaling up, baby cobra or cobra. Exhale, lower. Pressing up through tabletop, tucking our toes, lifting our hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Bending our knees, walking our feet to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, rooting down, rising up to the sky. Exhaling our hands down through heart center, finding that imaginary chair, pressing our palms together here. Belly button into spine. Exhale, folding forward. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting our hands, reaching our other foot to the back of the mat this time. You can lower that knee or rise up. Crescent lunge. Beautiful. Exhale, hinging at our hips, folding forward, planting our hands, left foot meets right. Downward facing dog, or child's pose. Inhaling forward like a wave to plank or kneeling plank, shoulders over wrists. And then we're going to lower ourselves all the way down to our bellies. Once again, finding that root, inhaling up, baby cobra or cobra. Exhale, lower. Pressing up through our tabletop, tucking our toes, lifting our hips up and back. Downward facing dog. And then we're going to make our way to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, rooting down, rising up. Hands down through heart center as we find that imaginary chair. Beautiful. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting our hands, left foot back again this time. Once again, you can lower your knee or we can find crescent lunge again. Beautiful. As we exhale, we're going to hinge forward, finding our airplane arms, palms down, reaching our fingertips to the back of the mat, squeezing our shoulder blades together. Exhale, rising up. Beautiful. Hinging forward, reaching back. Using the strength of your breath to rise back up. One more time. Beautiful, rising up here. Exhale, folding forward, planting our hands, right foot meets left. Downward facing dog or tabletop. Inhaling forward like a wave to plank or kneeling plank, lowering halfway or all the way down to the mat. Finding upward facing dog or cobra. Beautiful, and then making our way back to downward facing dog. Maybe we pedal it out here for a breath. And then bending our knees and making our way to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, rooting down, rising up. Hands down through heart center, finding that chair pose. Exhale, folding forward. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting our hands, reaching the right foot to the back of the mat, high on the ball mound, rising up. Beautiful. Exhale, hinging forward, finding those airplane arms on this side, squeezing our shoulder blades together. Beautiful. Rising up. Exhale, hinging forward and rising up. One more time. Really reaching to the back of the mat with our fingertips. Exhale, rising up to the sky. Beautiful. Hinging forward, planting our hands, left foot meets right. Downward facing dog or child's pose. Inhaling forward like a wave to plank or kneeling plank. Lowering halfway or all the way to the mat. Finding upward facing dog or cobra. And then making our way back to downward facing dog. And then we're gonna bend our knees, making our way to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, rooting down as we rise up. And exhaling. Finding our mountain pose here. Maybe pausing for a breath. We can roll our shoulders back and down. Really rooting in strong through our feet here. Beautiful. We can bring our hands to heart center. They can stay at our hips, wherever is comfortable for you. Rooting in to our right foot here. We're gonna inhale our left knee up to the sky or up to our chest. And then we're gonna open this left leg to the side and just let that foot land on the inside of the right leg. So we're in a tree pose here. Really reaching high to the sky with the crown of the head. Beautiful. On our next breath, we're gonna close that up, keeping that knee bent towards our chest, really pulling in our core here. As we exhale, we're slightly bending our right leg as we hinge at our hips, reaching this left leg to the back of the mat, finding crescent lunge. Beautiful. Arms can go up to the sky or they can stay at heart center. And then as we exhale, pivoting that left foot, finding warrior two. Really strong arms, strong legs here. Right palm reaches up a little, reach forward. Exalt our warrior. Inhaling back, warrior two. Bending this right arm, placing it on the top of our thigh. Maybe we circle our left arm around once, opening up, side angle. If it's available, we're gonna reach that left arm forward, bicep by our ear, palm facing down, turning our pinky finger into the midline here, making sure we're still opening up to the left of the side. And we're not lunging in, we're still nice and tall here. Beautiful. Exhale, rising up, warrior two. Straightening that right leg, really hinging at our hip as we reach forward, toppling into triangle. Beautiful, making our way back, warrior two. Pivoting our left foot, circling this left arm around, finding crescent lunge. Bringing our hands to heart center, rooting into this right foot, rising up, letting our left toes just dangle to start. This is warrior three. You can stay here, or if it feels good, we're gonna hinge at our hip, toppling forward, left toes flexed. Hips are square to the mat here. Arms can stay by at our center. We can find airplane. Beautiful, and then as we exhale, we're gonna rise back up to standing. We can shake that out. And we're gonna find a sun breath to wash that out. Inhaling up to the sky. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, rooting down, rising up. And exhaling. Mountain. Beautiful. Finding your mountain pose here once again. Nice, strong base at the top of the mat. Beautiful. Hands, once again, can come to heart center or maybe just at your hips, wherever feels good for you. Rooting into our left foot this time, reaching this right knee towards the chest. And then opening that right hip to the side and just letting that right foot land wherever it is on the inside of the left leg, or maybe our toes are on the mat. Again, finding our tree pose here. Beautiful. We're going to close that knee up, knee towards our chest still. Slight bend in our left leg as we hinge back, really reach into the back of the mat. Finding our crescent lunge. Strong legs, strong foundation before we reach our arms up to the sky. Or maybe we just keep them at heart center. Beautiful. As we exhale, pivoting that right foot, finding warrior two. Left palm reaches up a little, reach forward, exalt our warrior here. Inhaling back. Warrior two. Bending the left arm, placing on the top of our thigh. We can circle this right arm around if we'd like. And then if it's available, we're going to reach that right hand to the front of the mat, palm facing down, turning the pinky in just slightly to the midline, opening up the right chest. Supported side angle. Beautiful. Rising back up. Warrior two. Straightening that left leg, really kicking out this right hip. Finding our triangle pose. Reaching to the sky with our fingertips here. Beautiful. Making our way back. Warrior two. Pivoting that right foot, circling this right arm around. Crescent lunge to start. Hands at heart center. Rooting into our left foot as we rise up, letting our toes just be gentle on the mat. Reaching high to the sky, warrior three. If we like, we can hinge at our hips, flexing that right toes towards our face, finding another variation of warrior three. Hands at heart center, or they can be airplane arms. Beautiful. And then as we exhale, rising back up, finding our standing mountain. Again, we can shake that out if it feels good. Washing that out with a breath, inhaling up to the sky. Exhale, really hinging at our hips, swan dive. Halfway lift. Exhale, finding that forward fold, holding it here for a breath or two. Letting our fingertips just be gentle on the mat here, cupping them like we're protecting those cupcakes. And we're just gonna lift our left heel and then the right. Pedaling this out here. Lengthening our hamstrings. Maybe you feel this stretch all the way up your hip. Maybe it even helps release your low back. Head is nice and heavy here. One more time on each side. Beautiful. We're gonna inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting our hands, reaching our left foot to the back of the mat, finding runner's lunge this time. Again, we can heel toe that right foot out, closer to our right hand if that feels better. Always remembering to make space, to take space if you need to. You can lower that left knee if you want. If your block is available, we're just gonna bring it to the front of the mat as well. Beautiful. On our next breath, we're gonna pivot that left foot, rising up, warrior two. Inhaling, reaching forward, exalt our warrior. Beautiful. Exhaling, Warrior two, left hand on our left hip. We're gonna heel toe the left foot in as we rise up and hinging to the side, finding that lateral reach, opening up to the left, left toes flex towards the face, grabbing our block right wrist. And if it's available, lifting that left arm up to the sky, balancing half moon. Beautiful. And when you've had enough of that, bending that left leg, making our way back. Warrior two. Right palm reaches up, a little reach forward. Exalt our warrior. Beautiful. Warrior two. Cartwheeling our arms, framing our front foot, pivoting the left, bending the left knee. Left foot meets right. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, rooting down, rising up to the sky. And exhaling, mountain pose. Beautiful. Inhaling up. Exhale, swan dive. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting our hands, reaching the other foot to the back of the mat this time, finding that runner's lunge, heart shining forward, fingertips cupped on the mat here. Again, moving that left foot as far as we need to make it comfortable. You can also lower that right knee to the mat. Really opening up our hips here. And then on our next breath, pivoting that right foot, rising up. Warrior two. Left palm reaches up. Exalt our warrior. Beautiful. Warrior two. Right hand at our right hip. You can heel toe in a little bit here. Before we root into that left foot, I'm going to reach the banister. Hinging to the side here, grabbing our block, opening up to the side. Right toes flexed. We can reach that right arm to the sky if that feels okay. Beautiful. And then lunging in, making our way back to warrior two when you're ready. Left palm reaches up, a little reach forward. Exalt our warrior. Beautiful. Back to warrior two. Cartwheeling our arms, framing the front foot, pivoting that right, bending the right knee. Right foot meets left. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, rooting down, rising up. And exhaling. Mountain. Beautiful. We are going to find pigeon pose. So once again, if pigeon is not in your practice, I invite you, when we make it down to the mat, you just make your way onto your back and find figure four. Whatever feels better for you this evening. Beautiful. Either way, we're going to start in mountain pose here. Again, maybe we roll our shoulders back a couple times. Maybe we roll them forward too, releasing any other tension that may be built up in there. Beautiful. Inhaling up to the sky. Exhale, swan dive. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. We're going to plant our hands and we're going to step back in a downward facing dog. Or we can lower our knees to the mat and making our way onto our backs, finding our figure four stretch. Beautiful. If we're in our downward dog, we're going to reach our right leg to the sky. And then as we exhale, right knee towards our right wrist, right ankle towards the left wrist. If we're on our backs, we're going to cross the right ankle by the left knee. In either variation, flexing our right toes here, really settling in. You can use your props underneath your hip if there's a lot of space. We can pull that knee in towards our chest. We can walk ourselves down to our forearms, maybe even all the way down to our bellies, whatever feels good in our pigeon. And holding this for a few breaths here. And tuning in, slowing down, Trying to allow yourself to surrender to this pose. It's not an easy pose to hold. And always remembering that if your breath becomes shaky, I invite you to rise up out of this a little bit. Finding the tight spaces. Nice big breath. And allowing them to soften if they can. Maybe we close our eyes or soften our gaze as we hold this just for a few more breaths. Beautiful. We're going to slowly make our way up out of this. If we are in our figure four, we're going to uncross our legs. We can windshield washer that out nice and slow. If we're in pigeon, we're going to tuck our left toes, lift our hips up and back, downward facing dog, pedaling that out. Beautiful. And then we're going to find your variation on the other side. We're going to inhale our left leg up to the sky or cross our left ankle towards our right knee, and then our left knee towards our left ankle, left wrist. My goodness. You know where we're going. Left ankle towards our right wrist. Crossing that leg if we're in figure four. Left toes flexed in both positions, protecting our knee here. And again, settling in first. We can use props or blocks underneath our hips. And then you can hug your knee in towards your chest, or you can slowly make your way down to wherever feels like a stretch and is really comfortable for you. Finding your edge, but not going past it. Once again, slowing down our breath. Maybe noticing where you feel this stretch. Maybe it's not just in your hip. Maybe you can feel it all the way up to your shoulders. Maybe even in through your fingers. Where else do you notice this stretch? Allowing yourself to find a few more moments of stillness. But also knowing you can come up out of this at any time. In our next few breaths, we're going to slowly rise up out of that. If we're in figure four, once again, uncrossing our legs and windshield washing that out. If we're in pigeon, we're going to tuck our right toes, lifting our hips up and back, downward facing dog. Pedaling it out, rocking our hips side to side. Windshield washing our legs, giving our body whatever movement it needs here. Beautiful. If we're in downward dog, we're going to soften our knees to the mat. If we're still on our backs, we're going to slowly roll over and make our way up gently into our seated pose. Beautiful. Legs stretched out front, fleshy bits away. We're going to bend our left leg, bringing the left foot inside the right leg. Beautiful. That left leg is on the mat. Hips are as square as can be to the front of the mat here. We're going to inhale our arms up to the sky. And then as we exhale, hinging forward, reaching forward before we round in forehead to knee.
Once again, noticing the micro movements with your breath. Inhale, rise. Exhale, soften. Beautiful. Exhaling up slowly out of that. Beautiful. We're going to reach the left leg out long. Again, we can shake this out if we like. And then we're going to find that stretch on the other leg. So bending the right knee. Right leg is on the mat. Right foot in the inside of that left leg. Almost like a seated tree here. Again, hips are square to that front foot. We're going to inhale up to the sky. And again, hinging forward, really reaching forward, and then rounding in forehead to knee. And then once again, noticing that inhale to lift, and exhale to soften in. Beautiful. Exhale, slowly rising up out of that. Again, reaching that right leg forward. We can shake that out. And then we're going to bend our knees, making our way to the middle of the mat, bringing our block with us just so it's accessible. And then we're going to slowly roll down onto our backs, hugging one knee in and then the other. Again, you can find stillness, maybe rocking side to side. It feels really good here. Beautiful. We're going to release our feet to the mat, arms in cactus or T. We're going to find a really gentle supine twist here. So we're going to inhale, and then as we exhale, dropping our knees to the left. Right arm or right shoulder is rooted. Again, we can move our legs further away from the midline. That makes this a little bit easier and more comfortable for you. Also know if it's available, you can straighten that right leg, and you can even place the left hand on top of the right thigh. A nice IT band stretch here as well at the same time, whatever feels good for you. Once again, looking straight ahead or out to the right in a full spinal twist. Softening in here. Really relaxing our body. Maybe we close our eyes or soften our gaze here. That right leg is outstretched. We're going to bend it in, and we're going to bring our knees back to center. Beautiful. Inhaling here, and then as we exhale, finding that supine twist on the other side, left shoulder rooted down. You can straighten that left leg if it feels better, or if you have enough space. And then looking straight ahead or out to the left. Maybe once again noticing where you feel this stretch along the left side body. Maybe all the way up into the top of your head or out to your fingers. Or maybe you just feel it in your low back. Neither observation is wrong. That left leg is outstretched. We're going to bend that left knee. And we're going to make our way back to center here. And then finding any movement you need to work that out. And then we're going to grab our block. We're going to lift our hips just gently here, placing that block on its lowest setting underneath the sacrum. And then letting our hips become heavy here. Arms wherever is comfortable. And finding that supported bridge. And then you can stay here. You can find any other variation you like. You can reach your legs out forward, finding our full bridge here. Really opening up the front of the hips. Or if it feels better for you, bending one knee and then the other, reaching our legs up to the sky, finding supported legs at the wall. And maybe as you find your pose, you take a nice breath. Settling in. Once again, allowing yourself to find stillness. Maybe you notice that your breath is a little more calm and more spacious than it was at the beginning. And just holding whichever variation of this pose feels good for you. For about 10 more cycles of breath. And then knowing that you can stay here if this is what feels like rest for you. If you'd like to find a different variation of your final resting pose, I invite you to bend your knees in whichever variation you're in, slowly releasing your feet to the mat. You can release the block or the prop that's underneath you. And then in your next few breaths, making your way into your final resting pose, Shavasana. And when you've arrived, I invite you to take that nice cleansing breath in through the nose, filling up all the spaces in your body. And really exhale, sighing it out, letting it go. Noticing where you feel heavy on the mat. And where do you feel space? With no judgment, just observation. And just finding your breath and your stillness here for a few moments. Allowing me to hold the space for you until it's time to bring you back. And giving yourself permission once again to just rest. Welcoming yourself back into your conscious body with a breath. Arriving back into your space. And when you feel ready, I invite you to find movement, but always remembering you can stay here as long as you like. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes, rolling out your wrists and your ankles. Maybe rocking your head from side to side. And finding any other movement that you need to bring yourself back to full waking consciousness. And in your next few breaths, I invite you to bend your knees, placing your feet on the mat, reaching your right or your left arm over your head and rolling over onto your right or your left side body. And taking a breath. And pressing through your palm and making your way up into seated lotus pose. And then finding one last breath together here in unison. We're going to inhale our arms up to the sky, nice and slow. And exhaling down through heart center, pulling in all that beautiful sunshine and energy. Finding a little bit of gratitude for showing up, for arriving. Thank you so much for joining me again virtually this week. The love and the light in me truly sees and honors the love and the light in each of you. Namaste. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you, Laura.
No problem.
Enjoy your weekend.
Lady.
Thanks, Laura. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Wednesday.
Thank you.